Hi everyone. Here is my input after watching JD's video about his struggles with maintaining standards, levels, or routine, or whatever you call it. I'll just say I think maybe the greatest challenge is that when you're a professional at something, you expect high standards for yourself and you expect kind of maybe perfection, and you even think that people expect the same thing, like high standards from you and faltering levels and perfection, if I may use that word. And this means that no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what's going on around you, you still believe that you have to be at either the same level or do better. But when things then interfere, life happens, like COVID-19 has happened. Sometimes you have absolutely no choice, because as human beings, our bodies, our minds, our souls, our spirits respond as human beings. So unfortunately, sometimes when things happen like COVID-19, your body, your mind, your soul is going to be affected, and it's going to be affected negatively, which means maybe your levels or your standards are going to be affected as well. And what then happens is you find it difficult to forgive yourself for having that weakness. But I would encourage people not to look at it as a weakness. It's natural responses to life situations. For example, JD, you're talking about you have your niche, and because of the way your niche has been affected, your standards or your levels have dropped a bit. I would say forgive yourself for that. It's not your fault. It's not totally avoidable. So start with forgiving yourself for having the levels or standards drop. But then again, congratulate yourself for having the passion to want to maintain standards, for doing what you can when you have done what you can, because I've seen you posting videos doing what you can, and compromising, and maybe thinking outside the box and making use of what's available to you to do as much as is possible. It might not seem like enough for you, but I would say to you, it's better than giving up. You've even mentioned that you've thought about giving up, but you haven't. And that's a big thing. Many people, as soon as the thought of giving up comes in, they give up. I'll give you an example. Me, as a professional mental health nurse, when I found myself struggling with depression, I could not forgive myself. I kept saying to myself, how can I be depressed? How can I have let myself go? How can I have allowed this to happen to me? After all, I'm a professional. I should know how to prevent this. I should know how to control this. I should know how to manage this. But I didn't stop to think that no doctor, or should I use surgeon, no surgeon has ever operated on himself. Surgeons do get injured as well, and they do input as well. They do need support as well. They need somebody else's input. And even if they're getting that support, they still go through that period of being down, and then that period of picking up and getting better. So yeah, until I acknowledged that I'm human first, then mental health professional second, I was able to forgive myself for responding to situations the way I responded to, because we naturally get knocked down when horrible things happen, or when pandemics come, or when catastrophes happen. It's part of life that things go wrong, and and it affects you. Pretending or trying to act like it's not affecting you can actually be detrimental to your being able to pick yourself up, because you will then probably end up like me, crashing first before you can start helping yourself. And when you crash, getting yourself up is gonna need all sorts of different inputs from yourself, from family, from those around you, and from professionals. So the fact that, JD, you are struggling and they're honest enough to acknowledge that to yourself and even to us, to me, that is in itself a fight. You're putting up a fight, and that's good enough. You should be proud of yourself. You should pat yourself on the back. The fact that you're a professional fitness coach has nothing to do with it. You are human, just like I was human, and yet, I mean, I was a professional, or I'm a professional with mental health, but I still struggled with depression. And I even struggled with it for a very long time without actually acknowledging that I was struggling with it, because I told myself as a professional, it can't happen, it shouldn't happen. And so I convinced myself it was not happening. I convinced myself it was all sorts of things other than what it actually was. And until I acknowledged it, I wasn't able to deal with it. Once I did acknowledge it, I also struggled with acknowledging the fact that getting back to where I was going to be a journey, was going to need hard work, was going to need support from professionals, from family, from friends, from whoever was able to give the support. I struggled for a while with that as well. And when I did accept and acknowledge it, I found myself climbing up my ladder back to my whole full functioning self easier and even faster. I mean, I had tried several times to fix myself by myself, and I'd go so many steps up and then freeze, or then fall right back to square one, or just get this thought in my head that would just be like, what do you think you're doing? You think you're God? You think you can do this on your own? And then I would crash. But once I did that acceptance, acknowledgement, and was prepared to be vulnerable, I started taking my steps back up, and I did get back up. Um, One person that helped me told me that the time it's gonna take is not really something that you should worry about right now. Worry about knowing where you want to be, knowing the steps that you need to take, and starting to take them without just thinking about them, knowing them, and then not taking any action. How long it takes is just gonna depend on your capacities. Sometimes we don't know our capacities until we take the first step. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that helps you, JD, or anybody else who's gonna watch this video. And I can't wait to hear other people's perspectives. I think different approaches can help as well build up to us getting back on track. I think for me, with routine in terms of fitness, at the moment, that hasn't been a big struggle for me, because I don't actually have a niche. I picked a way of maintaining a certain level of fitness that I find fun to do and engaging to do. When I walk, most of the times, half the walk I do a live, and I share my thoughts, and that makes the walk go quicker. It makes it less painful. And I think it impacts one or two people who watch the live or who watch it later. That's one way I have established to help myself keep going. And in terms of my other way of keeping fit, freestyle dancing, I love music, I love movement. So yeah, I actually enjoy it while doing something for my physical health. So I don't actually have a niche per se, but I have established kind of a routine that works for now. And maybe because I'm not a professional in terms of fitness, I'm then not judging myself harshly. I'm actually congratulating myself every little weight that I lose. I'm congratulating myself. Another thing I've done is take supplements to facilitate. Take supplements that are helping me, that are helping manage my appetite for food. You'll be surprised how that helps, because then I'm not totally relying on burning all the fat that I accumulate, all the calories that I am putting in my system. The less calories I'm putting in a way, the less physically I have to work at it. And the third thing is, I've told myself it's not going to be perfect right now because there are many factors affecting the level of fitness workouts and fitness practices because of the COVID-19. So as long as I am consistent, as long as I am doing something every day, then I am on the pathway up rather than going down. Have a lovely evening, guys. I'd like to hear your comments to that. Bye.